You're a large. You're fat. You're fat as fuck. You're stupid. You're fat and stupid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. My name is Daniel, and I'm coming at you from Knox Vegas, baby, bringing you episode 21, hot and fresh, man. And I'm joined, as always, by my brother and co-host, Joseph.
Yo, what's up? How you doing, man?
Dude, I am doing pretty damn well. I do want to real quick send a shout out to Cilantro Jack and say thanks for the fun Halloween party last night.
Cilantro Jack.
Yeah. They will remain anonymous.
Yeah. Cilantro Jack. That sounds like the nickname for like the kid that sold you fake weed in high school. Oh yeah. Oh great, we're inviting Cilantro Jack.
Oh shit. Well, dude, why don't you give a little overview of the fucking ridiculous scenario that you're dealing with?
Yeah. So my wife, and I think I've mentioned this before, but my wife works in entertainment. And so she and some people raised money and are putting together a pilot, right? Mm. So I'll give you all details, when this thing continues to get a little bit closer to fruition. But they're shooting it this weekend. Mm-hmm. Suffice to say, Daniel, I sent you a picture of this. Actually, you know what? I'll try to post that picture on show notes. Right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I recently moved to Atlanta, and this apartment that we're staying in is like they had to like repurpose it and make it look like this cabin from the 1860s. Yes, it sounds absurd, but just hang with me. And so got all this paneling. They actually did a really good job of putting it together. It looks effing awesome, man. Problem is, I can't sleep there, right? So I'm staying.
Minor detail.
I'm staying at a friend's house around the way, and I want to be respectful of them. We record on Sundays, and I want to give them space and whatever. Like we're all adults, or maybe not. I don't know, based on the situation, or I should say we're all adults with homes, but maybe not based on the situation. So I'm like, no problem. I'll step outside. So I hear this helicopter, which is rare in Atlanta. I just moved from LA, Los Angeles. You hear this shit all the time, not so much in Atlanta.
Yeah.
There is a goddamn Huey supercopter that is like hovering over the city of Atlanta, delivering some sort of like metal for a crane or a huge sign or something, and it's like such a big deal that it's like an article, in like the local rags or whatever. So anyway, long story short, man, it's been an interesting weekend. But hey, just really quickly before we get into this, this is totally off the agenda, unscripted here, but I sent out a series of tweets last night on Narcan. Mm-hmm. Dude, it is blowing my mind. I just kind of was doing some last minute research for Tether, saw an article on Narcan, an article that mentioned Narcan, and it was talking about Narcan being stocked at public libraries, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started like diving into it a little bit, looking around, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just wanted to mention it for you because this is right up your alley and our listeners. But
well, real quick, Narcan is like an opioid antagonist, so it's normally used for like ODing on some kind of opiate or opioid.
Right, so, exactly. Anyway, and we're in the midst of a serious opioid. I mean, some have called it, I guess, an epidemic, but it's a huge problem. Many people are overdosed. A huge spike in overdoses. Mm-hmm. Narcan is a brand name. right?
Mm-hmm.
The generic, which I'm drawing a blank on what it is now. Do you know?
Naloxone.
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 Right? Naloxone.
Yeah.
Naloxone, which is the generic,
Mm-hmm.
is not under patent anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can be manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
Yet these news articles are mentioning Narcan specifically. Like that's all you hear about is
Like
Narcan.
native advertising kind of shit.
Well, no, no, not native advertising. I'm saying the headline of the article is Narcan stock, right?
Uh-huh.
So I just started doing some research. There's a pharma company out of Pennsylvania
Uh-huh.
who manufactures Narcan, right?
Uh-huh.
First of all, you go to their website, it's absurd. It's like ODs can happen at anywhere. And there's like a dad, clearly a dad sitting at a table watching his might be depressed son get a glass of water from the perhaps depressed son get a glass of water from the sink.
Mm-hmm.
And the son is like obviously too old to be living at home.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so anyway, that's an aside. But this pharma company, their stock has like tripled, right, in the past 5 years.
They're not public, are they?
They are public. They are absolutely public.
Okay.
And so it's just interesting, man, because it's like, and the comment that I put on there is like, look, manufactured crises, right, have manufactured solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you got to wonder, man, the opioid situation in the United States, like somebody was plugging hard to get the, OC's OxyContin,
Mm-hmm.
is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Positioned in the way that it was.
And so this shit started though, just a real quick aside, with some like botched, not botched, but basically, they did some research on, oxycodone, which is OxyContin, basically OxyContin is extended release oxycodone.
Okay.
And, they did some fudged reports on it. And, basically the guy that was doing the, conducting the research, he downplayed the, abuse potential and, addiction potential of it.
So
completely. And so that's why, that's how it really kind of began. But
of course, because there are billions and billions and billions of dollars on the line, right?
Oh yeah.
But this is the gross misalignment of incentives,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let's get off this topic because it might be kind of complicated for.
Dude, it's
yeah. But it's just interesting because I've been thinking a lot about we better take a hard right turn, but the idea of aligned incentives
Mm-hmm.
in a tech enabled society
Mm-hmm.
is really interesting if you start to drill down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because like the concept of aligning incentives in the past in a world that was less connected,
Mm-hmm.
much more challenging, if not impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, your will can be known moment to moment,
Mm-hmm.
and your goal can be known, and aligning incentive
Mm-hmm.
for all participating parties, or aligning incentive in a much more optimized way,
Mm-hmm.
is something that we can do now, and tech is a huge driver of that. Anyway, let's get off this. But
there's the little light opener.
Well, but I wanted to mention that. Because I was just like, it was kind of blowing my mind, like how obvious it was that these people have just said like, yeah, fuck it, this is our brand name, and we're going to jam this down your throat, and how readily the media has just like glummed onto this, like Narcan. That's like saying like Tylenol, or like saying like Ford cars, or or Abercrombie and Fitch. Oh my god, what? I just had a brand stroke. I'm sorry. I think I just shit my pants a little bit. It's like Abercrombie and Fitch, Aeropostale, Pastale. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's stylish. All right, dude. So hard right here. There are ways to exterminate There are ways to exterminate. Dude, I'm sorry. I just said hard right and it made me remember. I saw a tweet yesterday that said, tonight we're expecting a hard frost, right?
Yeah.
And then it said, moments later, Robert Frost kicks the door in. He's like, road less traveled, motherfucker.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wait, wasn't that Robert Frost? It was like, or whatever poem it was.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the road less traveled or something like that. Yeah.
Moments later, Robert Frost kicks the door down. Road less traveled, motherfucker.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, but there are ways to exterminate pests. There are ways that maybe we should avoid when exterminating pests, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
let me go into one of those ways to probably avoid.
Let's press this down.
Yeah. So this cat in Fresno, California, I think he was doing some.
Which is great this time of year.
Say what?
It's great this time of year. Go Bulldogs. I'm serious. It's Fresno. Hold on. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
I'll take your word for it. This guy is doing, he's house sitting for his parents in Fresno. And he basically found, I guess what he identified as a nest of black widows on the exterior of the house. He basically just said that it was like a lot of spiders kind of thing. And so he decided, in order to rid himself of this his parents' house of this infestation, that he would take a blowtorch to the spiders. So he ends up. I'm sure this comes to as no surprise to anyone, but he ended up catching the house on fire, and they had like a local reporter cruise over there and do a Facebook Live video to cover the story and stuff. And she was just like, this is one of the most bizarre fire stories I've ever heard.
So I'm willing to wager that you could line people up and you could say, which one of these people just set their house on fire with a blowtorch trying to kill spiders?
You can identify them.
I think you can pick them out. I think visually, I think just based on visual cues, you can pick them out. You know, like he probably has like
he's got a Garfield sweatshirt on. He's cross-eyed.
Definitely has unkempt eyebrows for sure. You know, and he's like, and he probably, you know, and whatever, and he's like, I don't know, maybe he's mumbling to himself or something, but yeah, man. Well,
just but anyway, so I'll just read just this little snippet from the report. But he told firefighters that there were a lot of black widow spiders that were outside the home on the exterior wall. So he decided he was going to try to exterminate these spiders with a blowtorch. They're still looking into the cause of the fire, but it's pretty clear. Investigators say that was most likely the cause.
Yeah, he's doing this in the middle of a lightning storm.
Yeah, right.
Like
the Fresno firefighters actually tweeted out, and they were like, please don't use a blowtorch to kill spiders, and then linked to the story. So.
It would be pretty awesome if like they did this deep like backdraft style investigation, and they're like, you're not gonna believe this, but as he was traversing the side of the house, his zipper was actually rubbing on the siding, and there was so much friction that it burst into flames. You know,
It sounds probable, right?
Yeah, man, that's exactly right. That should be his story. I should text him.
You should shoot him a text, man.
That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
So the second article that we've got here, this is pretty rad, man. But an ex GoPro exec has started a new business. And this is kind of like, you know, down in the kind of vein of like just in time fashion, which is kind of a thing. I actually did when I was in graduate school, I did a research project on this. So once you get through this, I'll tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, so there's been a recent push for, or I guess not push, but I guess tech developers have recently kind of been able to, I guess, develop these apps and stuff that, like, for instance, the last update, for iOS gave people like a digital ruler kind of thing. So they figured out somewhat how to be able to take I guess whatever the program is doing, it's taking like the surroundings and kind of, being able to assign like a length or size or whatever to an object that you're using, you've got in the view of your camera.
Right.
And this guy decided, I guess, to take it a little bit further, or I'm sure that they've been, working on this for a hot minute. But anyway, so this ex-GoPro Veep decided to start this business called Red Thread. And with these days, there's all these issues, both with women and men, just of being comfortable with your body and like not assigning sizes and stuff. Which I don't know. I don't take it or leave it. I don't really care. But trying to make people more comfortable with themselves, and so that's what this business is trying to do, I guess. And what they're, go ahead.
So I scanned. So just quick note, the way that our show works is that we share articles throughout the week, but both of us do not do a deep dive on the article, and that's for a reason, right? And so I scanned this thing, and that was interesting because I scanned it and I didn't get that, but that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, but that makes a lot of sense that would be a trend that would be popular, right? Because it's like, you go into the store and they're like, yeah, you're gonna need
you're gonna need some huskies.
That's exactly that's what I was gonna say. Dana and I, when we were in our early teen years, we were thick, fucking thick.
Hell, dude, I'm reverting back to the teen years. I got my dad bod going.
Yeah, that's right, dude. That's right. Yeah. Well, when you get to the point where you can hide an entire Hershey Kiss in your belly, then it's time to reconsider. But yeah. So the husky size is a real thing, right? So it's like they try to say, not call it chunky or whatever. It's so
I wish that they just call it thick with 2 C's.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I mean, Reddit would.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah. So and there's there with the advent of social media and everybody being really involved in that, there was like this push for like against body shaming people and stuff. And I that all of this played into the development of this business. But anyway, it's actually a pretty cool thing. What they do.
Yeah. Walks through the process.
Yeah. So what you would do is you would I think you have to get their app on your phone, and it literally walks you through taking these photos. And so you have to take a challenge. Or
you take 6 dick pics.
You got to do a butt cheek spread. You got to do a downward dog naked through the legs.
That's literally it. They're like, our process is easy, right? Get butt ass naked.
You send us porno, we send you clothes.
Oh shit! Send it to Amateur Allure at redlineclothing.com.
Yeah, but no. So what they do is they make you take this short quiz that it's like, hey, what kind of challenges do you have, like buying clothes that fit, kind of thing. And then you have to submit 4 photos, and it walks you through all of it. But the first one is like just a very or an empty room, the empty room that you're going to be standing in. And that's just like for like calibration of the app. And then, you submit like your height and then set your phone up and you basically put your back against the wall and it has like 3 different, poses, like arms up, arms down by your side, and then like sideways. And so you start the little photo thing and it does a 10-second timer. And it just takes 3 photos. Yeah, exactly.
So Warby Parker was doing this years ago. Glasses are obviously a little bit seemingly would be a little bit easier because you're worried about like PD or whatever, pupillary distance. And then the basic geometry of the face. But do you remember this?
Yeah,
Have you ever got glasses
you could
from
do.
Warby?
Yeah, you could do. It was almost like a virtual fitting kind of thing.
Yeah, and so you could order 5 pairs to try on or whatever, and then they would send you those pairs. You'd put them on, and then you could. They would use like a credit card, which I always thought was funny, but a credit card for scale. And then you would like hold this credit card up, and then that's how they would adjust the glasses or whatever to get the
they'd adjust your credit also.
That's how that's how you adjust your credit. You'd get like a pair of Warby Parkers, and then like they'd be like an odd charge for like a super, like a pallet of Fritos.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I know it's just under the notes office party.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were doing it.
And somebody else that did kind of something similar is Indochino. But that was actually, you're just basically measuring yourself. You send in your measurements and then they send you like tailored shirts, suits, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I love it. It's cool from a tech perspective. It's really awesome. What's going on. But I mean, I think that it's even smarter, kind of getting ahead of the no label conversation. Because I would find it hard to believe that these guys are like, oh man, like here's my personal story. I walked into the store and I was 100% sure I was a medium,
Yeah.
And then they look at me and they're like, you're a large. And then I just tumbled down this rabbit hole of darkness,
I immediately went to Cinnabon to eat away my worries.
I looked at the guy's mouth and he said, you're a large, Satan.
I said, I'll fucking show you a large.
Yeah, you're a large. You're fat. You're fat as fuck. You're stupid. You're fat and stupid.
Dude, oh man, that sales rep sucks.
Oh my god! And this man just went into this like full fugue state, full fatty fugue state,
full fatty fugue state.
But anyway, it's super smart to get ahead of that.
Yeah,
and I think that I mean it's gonna be hugely popular, man. But trying clothes on is a huge pain in the ass. Yeah. I mean, I guess some people like it, but I mean, if I could just have like a profile that I could just share with people and they could, give me clothes that fit, dude, that would be awesome. And
that's what actually is kind of covered in this article. Because I mean, realistically, who is going to get all of their clothes from one source? No one, And so realistically, what these guys would do is they'd have their boutique-y shit, but what they would do is they would license the technology for this service out to other brands that people already fucking buy.
Of course, yeah, that's definitely the play. That's definitely the way.
But it's definitely something to keep an eye on. It's like it's a little out of my price range considering it's so they only have 4 items that are available right now.
Okay,
$148 for ankle and wide leg pants, and then a snap jacket for $168, and then a t-shirt for $78.
I mean, yeah. Well, so the other note that I was going to make on this is that there is I did this, and when I was in graduate school, I did this project. It was actually a fairly lengthy one on just-in-time fashion, just like I did it because I don't know anything about fashion.
Yeah.
And I still look fairly homeless. So apparently I did learn a lot. But but this idea of just-in-time fashion is something that Zara really, I don't want to say pioneered, but
what's Zara? I'm not familiar with it.
So Zara is a brand, Zara. Zara's a big brand, and they have their stores almost look like a relevant Gap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like their fashion is just, it's like super, super relevant. But the way that it works is that they have all of their manufacturing facilities geared, or I should say built in a way where they can quickly retool them to stamp out new styles, new cuts, and whatever. And so what they'll do is literally as soon as like something appears on a runway and achieves some level of virality, virality is my word, not theirs, but some level of virality or interest from folks, then they go ahead and will do a run of clothes that are like that, right? That are like genericized, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, I think that this actually was one of their taglines for a while or something, but it was like from the runway to the store in like a week, right? Or 2 weeks or something crazy like that. The problem is that fashion changes quickly. And now looking back over, you know, I think Zara's been around for a while, but doing this, you know, embracing this kind of just-in-time fashion model. I think they've been doing that for, I don't know, 8 years, 5 years, 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And look, you know, I read an article recently that they were saying doing a look back on that, they realized how wasteful it's been, right? Because you're doing, you know, whatever, pegged pants, and then all of a sudden it's like hot out of Japan.
It's not cool anymore.
Well, and then hot out of Japan, you know, elephant legs are coming back at you, boy. You know, everybody's
which is basically just American clothes on Japanese people.
It could. That's exactly right. It's the American large, you know.
No, dude, when I was
and everybody looks like they're in like a fat guy who lost a bunch of weight ad, you know.
Well, no, dude,
like in the pants, swimming in the pants, you know what I mean? Like
when Megan and I went to Korea to visit her, real quick tangent, her birth family, she her birth mom like really wanted to buy us just a bunch of stuff, and we were like, no, you know, and I was like, okay, you know, maybe like some shoes or something, because I need some shoes. And so she got me these shoes, and she was like, oh, I really want to buy you like some shirts and like pants and stuff. And I was like, maybe on the shirts, but like, I'm looking around here and ain't nobody got an ass like me.
Yeah, that's right, dude.
So I got a pair of their pants that were like, I think they were like XLs or something. And dude, I couldn't even get them over my thighs.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't consider myself super fat. I mean, I'm not a small person, but like, man, you want to talk about really taking a shot to the morale.
Right. You walk in and they're like, no.
Yeah.
We have nothing for you. The other thing that was, you know, on this, like, I'd like to use this app. I actually might do this. I actually might get Martha to use it or something. But I'd like to use it because it's just, I'm really interested in the fit, you know, because it's like
how accurate it is.
Yeah. Because think about it. If basically what you're doing is just ripping the labels off this shit, and then you're just like, yeah, he's a medium. You know what I mean? Like it's just like. It's like, could you take pictures of people and guess within a pretty close range if they're small, medium, or large? Like, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know how much like algorithmic work is happening in the background to be like, we have
a
33% chance of getting this right. You know,
they have somebody. They don't even have an algorithm. They just have some dude that he's like, beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, medium.
He's like sitting there licking his eating Cooler Ranch Doritos, licking his fingers. He's like,
His previous job was guess your weight at the circus.
242 XL.
Oh
man.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, they've got this proprietary, algorithm that's gonna take these photos and all the information that you give them, and it'll pop out a perfectly tailored, shirt or pair of pants for you. So
we'll have to keep our eye on this one. I mean, it's gonna revolutionize the holiday season.
Yeah.
No give backs, no take back.
No take backs.
But here we go. Trucking on to the next article. This was one that I sent you midweek, and we've got this tagged as kind of a longer discussion here. The reason that I've got it tagged is because of some interesting news out of the Tesla camp, which was badass. This past week, I guess. And so anyway, we'll get into all that. But basically, this article is from Vice's Motherboard. And what it covers is this research that was done. The name of the research project was the Moral Machine Experiment, right? And so these were some MIT postdocs. The Moral Machine Experiment was published in the Journal of Nature. But what they did, these folks took a look at like considering the kind of thought experiment is considering an unavoidable accident. Who would you vote off the island, right?
Yeah.
Considering an unavoidable accident, who's dispensable, right? And
I think they're using Red Thread's algorithm. It's like take out all the fatties.
Yeah, right. It's like they wear a medium, spare them. Yeah.
No, but anyway.
I don't know that the results were surprising necessarily, but I'll just share these with you real quickly. So again, the idea is there is an unavoidable accident that's happening, and this was contextualized within the autonomous driving conversation. But there's an unavoidable, because I mean, think about it, right? You've got to train the algorithms to behave in a certain way, and the reality of it is, and this is why everybody's like, scared as hell of AI. But the reality of it is, if you ask the algorithm to optimize, it's not going to make a moral decision. It's just not, because morality is not optimized. It does. It's completely illogical, right? In many ways, and so that was kind of the context of the conversation, or the context of the experiment. But some of their findings were interesting. So there's a chart that you'll see on the link that we posted. It preference in favor of sparing characters. So there's a variety of characters, right?
Wow.
So a stroller is number one, right? Like that, for whatever reason, has captured people's imagination. That is the thing that should be scared. Scared. Jesus. Should be spared. Thank you. I always get my C's and P's mixed. And so number two is a little girl. Number three is a little boy. Number four is a pregnant woman. Number five is a male doctor. Okay. All right. Whatever. So then if we go down to the other end of the spectrum, right? The most dispensable is a cat. The next
I think that's pretty funny.
The next most dispensable is a criminal. And they're saving dogs over criminals over here, right? And then an old woman, and then an old man, and then homeless people, and then a large man. So
it's more likely to spare a homeless person over an old person?
Correct. You are reading that correctly. Okay. That is completely correct. And then like executive mail or whatever is like people are just like ambivalent about the executive mail, you know. Take him or leave him. But I really appreciate reading this kind of stuff because you know, excuse me, wow, I put a lot on that lot on the top there.
Hot mic,
didn't mean to skid row you. But I dig this because we talk about this a lot on this show. I think most human beings, considering how short life is and how treasured, you know, or how most of us feel, you know, pretty passionately about our lives. I would say that most humans throughout history have said like their times are pretty good times, right? But what's crazy now is that all of this exponential technology is just coming to the center. It's all happening like at the same time.
Yeah.
And so the things that your kid, a certain level of autonomy will be happening at scale in Finnegan's life, in during his lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And so that is badass because we are seeing the absolute beginning of the logic.
God, did you just hear my computer take off?
Well, look, dude. I mean, between your computer fan and this Huey supercopter delivering, you know, cranes to downtown Atlanta, I think we've got all the bases covered. But
anyway, sorry.
You know, I think that that's, man, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool that human beings are, you know, we're designing this logic that will reverberate for years and years and years. And so anyway, I thought that was really interesting. The tie into Tesla was basically that, and one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of extend the amount of time that we dedicated to this article. Tesla has really gotten people to look at computers as cars, like to understand them as such.
You mean cars as computers?
No, I'm driving my computer right now. Which is actually just me on a it's just me on a bird scooter with my computer taped to the top of it. No, yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Cars as computers. Did I say computers as cars?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. This
Get your shit together.
This Huey supercopter's got me bent, man. Yeah. And so I mean, that's been the big shift, right? Yeah. Maintenance is different. Like the experience is different. And so one of the reasons that's fascinating is because while we are seeing cars as kind of more of a just piece of technology that like extends our reach and instead of like, you know, this like highly personalized thing that defines you, which was how Detroit sold so many cars in the beginning, right? That's happening on kind of the left side, on the left end of the spectrum. On the right end of the spectrum, we are looking at. By the way, this is not a political spectrum. This is just a spectrum. Yeah. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got this conversation emerging about mobility services, right? That's what this is talking about. So mobility services is the idea that transportation should be offered as a service, something like on a spectrum, right? So that you can, you know, like transportation as a category, right? And as a category that's powered by technology, meaning that like if you look at the current transportation paradigm, because you can afford a car. You have that, like, if you think about simply having the ability to afford a car, the world that opens up to you. And so somebody else who does not have the money for a car and takes a bus, the decision that maybe they know, maybe they don't know, but the trade-off that they're making is they're saying, yeah, I pay $1.75, and so sure, the upfront cost is less expensive, right? These are hours of your life that you're spending on this on this bus, right? So you're trading time for this like discounted
travel price kind of
travel
thing.
price. That's exactly right. So what mobility services, the kind of mantra of mobility services at scale is that, and you know, man, I got to give this guy a shout out. A colleague of mine and a good friend, a guy named Chris Ballinger, right, who used to be the CFO of Toyota Financial Services, and now has peeled off and is started a automotive consortium called Mobi. And he's got a ton of automotive manufacturers that are in on this, and they're really addressing mobility services through the lens of cutting bleeding edge tech, right? And totally check these guys out. Mobi. And Chris Ballinger is the guy's name that runs it. But I mean, he came up with this term. I went and was at this conference and heard Chris mention this, and I was like, dude, I'm going to steal that, but I'll give you total credit for it. You know, but it was he was like, you know, people talk about the unbanked, right? But he was like, you know, there are people that are literally do not have access to mobility, right? Like our gosh, I'm totally butchering this. It was unbanked versus like, you know, the unmobile. That's what it was. The unmobile, right? And he was like, you know, like one definitely begets the other. If you're in Africa and you don't have like a good way to get around, like if you're a human being, even in this like internet empowered world, if you don't have a good way to get around, like it's a huge challenge for people. Specifically that are in a certain socioeconomic category. And so anyway, my tie-in, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna do the Dave Chappelle wrap this up right now. But the tie-in there is that, you know, again, we're seeing all of this really interesting tech kind of, you know, come to the center. We're thinking about mobility services and the logic of mobility services and the technology that's going to empower mobility services. We're defining the logic that's going to help to we're defining the logic that's going to help to power the design and influence the design of the technology. And so it's like an article like this, just in a world that is so fucked and so crazy all the time. It's just really cool to see this, because this even though it seems like a really small kind of surface level article, the work that's happening here and the way that will be kind of boiled up and bubbled up into, you know, this technology and ultimately a product where, you know, a kid who, you know, doesn't have the money to buy a car, or maybe a car is not even fucking necessary anymore, right? Because we've been able to, you know, create this category of technology that then has become competitive, and then the prices have been driven down because competition has driven the prices down. So anyway, I may be taking it too far, but I really love this kind of concept. And again, the Tesla news. Tesla had a huge earnings beat this past in this past quarter, and so it's like it is very possible that Tesla has like turned the corner and is going to be a serious player at scale in automotive. And if people are understanding these more as computers and less as cars, I mean, this is it's just crazy. I nerd out on this all the time, but we're seeing this shit happen in real time in our lifetime. It's wild.
Yeah, it's super wild. Very wild.
I'm off of it.
Hey, you need to pump the brakes, Joseph Jetson.
So wild. Yeah. It is,
boy Elroy.
If you could just give me a second, I'm gonna put my space
Martha,
pack.
his wife.
I've got my jet pack on, and I was gonna go get a Soylent Green.
Oh, that's awesome.
So anyway,
yeah, I don't think that any of this is going to get implemented. I think space tubes are on the horizon, so we're going to be sent around like the deposits at banks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we're going to get a free sucker in our tube when we get there.
Exactly.
You get in and you're like, ooh, mystery flavor. Little do you know, they scraped that shit off the factory floor, you know?
Yeah, it's factory floor flavor.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what the mystery is. Like, anyway.
Awesome.
Okay, so this next one, dude, is badass.
Yeah. So real quick,
shape,
did you? Yeah. Did you get the email that I sent you with the short list?
I did.
Okay. Because I just pulled those from. Well, anyway. So we're gonna hop over to this next one, which is it's labeled as 100 websites that shape the internet as we know it, and it's we might actually spend a little bit more time on this than previously expected, because once I started actually going through all the websites, man, it was completely a trip down memory lane. Because I mean, we've been around. I'm 32 and Joseph's 34. And
Nah.
we've basically we're around to see the heavy sorry, that made me think of that girl that's like heavy vertation.
Years of vertation.
Oh my god. But anyway, we got to see the heavy implementation of the internet, and it really just be created. Because I mean, the first computer that we had access to was probably our grandfather's, and the only thing that you could do was like use WordPad, like play Minesweeper, or like play Solitaire. Like it really, I mean, it was. Maybe you could do like QuickBooks or something. I don't know, but like there wasn't internet. It was just a device for creating documents and sending it to your, what kind of printers are those that have the like feed things on the side?
Yeah, it's like a dot matrix or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But also, we had, we played a lot of Doom. Yeah. We played a lot of SimCity 2000, which was like a big deal.
Dude, you're already moving into like the mid to late 90s.
Well, we had, yeah, right.
You know?
Well, I used to play the shit out of some Oregon Trail on floppy.
The Incredible Machine, remember that one?
I remember the Incredible Machine. Yeah, absolutely. But, do you remember? And let's get over to these articles here. But do you remember that video that Bruce had? That was like it was like early computer graphics. What was it called?
Dude, it was Eye of what was it called?
It was called Eye of the Mind or something like that.
The Mind's Eye.
The Mind's Eye.
Because they actually pulled footage from that to use in the movie Lawnmower Man.
Absolutely, dude. Because it was so expensive to make.
Yeah.
And it was just like, which by the way, dear listeners, if you haven't fucking seen Lawnmower Man, get it now.
Seek it out, buy it, whatever. Like, it is worth your time. It is such a garbage heap, but it's a gem at the same time.
Wait, isn't
Pierce Brosnan, man?
Was it Pierce Brosnan? I get Pierce Brosnan at that age confused with who's the guy that's like
Sam Neill? I don't know.
You simply deny them that? You deny them that? Oh, hi. Great to see you. Hello. Who's that guy? You know, I'm doing the impression here, man. Come on. It's like and then
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Thank you. Wait.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way. Oh, hello. Yes. And then we'll take
the water droplet on your hand. The hairs on your hand, they're just tiny hairs, and the water droplet moves across them. Talks real fast.
And then we'll take the water droplet and we'll take it to the laboratory and we'll turn it into a big ass fly. And that was what was happening. Don't you understand? The asteroid was headed here the whole time. That's Goldblum in a nutshell, dude.
But anyway, yeah, so it was actually Pierce Brosnan.
Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the website.
Let's cruise back to the website. So we're not going to go through all 100 of these, obviously, because that would be boring as hell. But
56. Like
what?
I said website 56. You know?
Yeah. Oh, this is actually going to be a 4-hour episode. But anyway, so just to roll through a couple of these, for instance, Stack Overflow. I mean, dude, that was like quintessential.
Well, it still is.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, it's still
close,
completely applicable.
Can I,
But,
can I pluck one out of here just real quick?
Yeah, I bet it.
Dude, E-Bomb's World, that was pivotal, dude.
It was
pivotal in the development of my young fevered brain. And the other one, which was not pivotal in the development of my young fevered brain, but was absurd, is Chat Roulette.
Yeah.
Where it was like, it was literally, it was more like Russian roulette with dicks, you know? Well, that's really what it was.
Basically, you would take bets on how quickly you'd get connected with somebody that's just jerking off.
Yeah, and like think about their experience, right? Like there's no
people are just rolling through it. It's like, oh god, we got another pud puller.
It's literally, this guy was trying to create the same scenario as if he just like, you know, if he just like started beefing it like in the middle of like a subway station. You know what I mean? Just like a crowd of people.
There's like a slow trolley that's going by.
Yeah, just like a crowd of people like
and
walking
on your right,
by,
you'll see.
and then they just don't want to make eye contact with Pud Puller, you know?
But anyway, so just to like cruise through a couple more, like SoundCloud and Bandcamp were like super big for letting independent artists, you know, get their stuff out there. I don't think we ever had a SoundCloud.
No, we definitely didn't. SoundCloud. See, these these websites, they run the gamut, man, because not run the gamut. What I meant to say was the timeline is wide because Ask Jeeves, that was super early. MapQuest, that was super early, right?
Yeah.
E-Bomb's World, that was pretty early. E-Bomb's World was like early 2000s though.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned one this morning that's not on here, GeoCities.
Yeah.
I mean,
think GeoCities is toward the end, but I just didn't put it on the email.
No, you didn't put on this like short list.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But I mean I think that's such a badass thing about the internet, man. It's not that old.
Yeah.
Like, people forget this, right? It's not that old, man. I mean, we were still trying to figure out how to make it useful, you know, in the early 2000s. Let me bring this up real quickly here. Do you remember the first time, I'm assuming you saw, but definitely, well, I think the first time we both saw the internet. Do you remember this? Both experienced it?
Was it like AOL?
It was Uncle Joel coming up for a business trip. We were living, Daniel and I were living on a cattle farm.
Yeah.
In Granger County.
Mm-hmm.
And which is rural East Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a laptop that was huge. Do you remember this? And he was on a business trip, and he physically plugs into the phone line, and dials up. And I was just like, you know, giggling like, these noises, what are you know what's happening here? And it was just I can remember doing that, man. I was having this conversation and seeing that and just being like, what is this?
Yeah, what's it doing?
And I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. They were like, do you remember having to leave a note on the phone because somebody would pick the phone up and it would kick you off?
Yeah. I remember it would
you'd be like, Dad,
I almost completely downloaded 311 down.
Nah, dude, it would have been earlier than that. You would have been trying to download Jenny McCarthy naked, you know, on your compact Presario.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would have been like that time, right? Where it's like Sandra Bullock was a sex symbol.
Yeah.
There was a time. There was definitely a time. But anyway.
But yeah, so just to kind of keep cruising, like you said, Ask Jeeves, Dogpile, you know, all these super early search engines that basically existed before Google,
Right,
but,
right, absolutely, man.
But like Mega Upload was super big. The website that Kim.com was responsible for that ended up like, I mean, basically that was like the heart of the pirate community kind of thing, because people would just be sharing all sorts of,
I mean, but this was the time. Do you remember Hackers, the movie? Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this was like
kind of recently watched that. It's so bad.
It is bad, but I love it.
There's a place in my heart for it, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely love it. But yeah, I mean, these were just these were different times, simpler times, one might say. You know.
But so also AOL, and it was actually I want to read this one part because it really. It's just crazy because I remember it like it was freaking yesterday, dude. And now, I'm dealing with Megan and I upgraded to a fiber connection, and it's like downloading a 4K movie in like 30 seconds or something, whereas it would literally take probably a month of, back then with like a 56K modem or something. But like for AOL, they described it, and I thought that this was pretty awesome. After the screeching sound of a dial-up connection, the first thing many of us heard on the internet was, "Welcome, you've got mail." If the dial-up hiss was the sound of getting online, "You've got mail" was the sound of what it meant to be online, a human connection through the static and noise. And I thought that was a pretty cool description because, dude, I remember that, like, so well, and it really did. It was like, you didn't know whether or not you were actually going to get connected. Cause sometimes you'd have to, especially living out in Granger, sometimes you'd have to like call like 2 or 3 times, to try to actually get the connection going.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Super crazy though. And, I'm telling you, you definitely need to look through this list, man, cause it is a trip looking back through some of this stuff. So, but, we'll go ahead and cruise on to, speaking of the internet, we'll cruise on to the hackers that basically breached, healthcare.gov.
Yeah. So I've got to go through all 100 of those sites. I didn't have the time to do it, but I can't wait. I can't wait to do it.
It's really awesome, honestly, and I would 100% recommend all the listeners to do that also. Which we'll have it posted in the show notes. So
yeah, right on. Okay, so dig this. Healthcare. We're talking about hackers, right? Mm-hmm. The reason that I want to talk about this article this week. Obviously, data breaches, data rights. It's kind of been at the forefront of people's minds. Certainly this year with the action around GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation that rolled out in Europe, which is a big deal, right? It's like the right to be forgotten. Mm-hmm. The conversation around Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, still this is still happening, right? Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting is that so there was a big hack recently at the Centers for Medicaid and Medicaid Services, right? Mm-hmm. And so they think that 75,000 people's personal data was compromised. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so the reason that I wanted to, we'll post this article, you can dig into it, dig into it offline here. But the reason I want to bring this up is because it's just your profile, like your genetic profile and the kind of records that surround your health are as exposed as like your Facebook data. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's wild to think about. I mean, this is the most granular data that defines you as a human.
Well, and that's the thing is because this is actually kind
and it's being managed by morons. Let me put it that way.
100%, dude. 100%. Well, it's just people. people don't, I don't think that they stop to really look at, what could go wrong. It's like they have almost too much of an optimistic view of it, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, this is like you said, this is kind of multifaceted in regards to personal data that you would pull from like you said, a Facebook breach or something. You know, it's like, okay, that sucks, identity theft, something like that. But it's like, dude, you're talking about like HIPAA violations, which, I mean, you can get like, I want to say up to $250,000 fine, maybe like 10 years in prison kind of thing for violating HIPAA.
Right.
And so, I mean, this is just like next level to have something as important as your healthcare information and your just health information. I mean, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy that this would even be.
It's just complete information asymmetry, total information asymmetry. I mean, people are like, if you have had a family member that has taken a 23andMe test, a DNA test, right, and have said, oh yeah, you know, I'm like 40%, you know, Inuit, and you know, 8% this and that or whatever. If you have a family member that's done that, which we have, right. A slight variation of genetically who you are is forever in someone else's database.
Yeah.
So that means, I mean, I don't have.
This is kind of a shout back to, was it last week's episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
That, you know, because I mean, it's just, I mean, dude, that's the only. Well, like you were talking about, which I think we covered a little bit last week, but like if someone was to strip you naked and put you in some other country or something, you don't have, the only thing you have is your identity, and there's really no way to
you cannot
prove.
Yeah, you can't prove it. You can't.
Yeah.
Facebook has a better idea of your identity than the federal government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, really think about that for a second, right? Facebook has a more accurate depiction of your ID, of who you are, than the federal fucking government.
Yeah.
Like, and that is not totally surprising, because I would think private enterprise would be able to pull it off before, you know, these lumbering, like, absurdly inefficient public entities. But my point is that's not the way people think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have a driver's license number, like you have a social security number, you have all these things that seek to define you. Here comes this Huey.
I was gonna say, dude, I think we're getting another
I'm sorry.
shipment of.
But or it could be a black helicopter coming to like bag me up and take me to a gulag. Maybe we're getting too close here. But I just wanted to bring this up, the healthcare hacks here, because you know, the demand for data security at a personal level is coming, and it's coming very, very soon. And I think that we're going to see the rise of things like, I mean, the technology, or the company Urbit, URBIT. You need to check it out if you've never heard of it. Yes, they're the head of Urbit, Curtis Yarvin, is like an unbelievably explosive character, and a lot of people hate this guy for his politics, and that's fine, right? But thinking about the technology, basically it's their virtual private servers, right? And the way that these virtual private servers communicate with each other is such that your data is actually your data hard stop, right? And so, you know, as we think about ways to, like, you should 100% be able to prove who you are standing there butt ass naked.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it is the demand of society that you have an ID, right? Like, if that is what it takes to live in the modern world, I don't think anybody would argue that it's not. It absolutely is. Like, we have to know who is who and whatever, I guess. Then you know, it is going to become increasingly important, and maybe we're here now, where you need to be able to identify yourself I guess just in a as close to irrefutable way as you possibly can. And you need to be the owner of that. Now, when we talk about this in blockchain and cryptographic tech, it's like, okay, well, is Nano ready to like hold on to her private keys, right? Meaning that you've got private keys that could expose all of this data. Excuse me. And if you lose that private key, it's done. You can never recover that data, right?
So, I mean, is this kind of when we jump to the like almost like chip use that it's like
absolutely, man. You know, that is exactly
because I mean, even with that, I mean, depending on how the chip was like, I guess, put in you or whatever. I mean, I would assume that people could remove them.
Well, they could, and they will. I mean, I would think that, I think that, I mean, it's just it's an interesting kind of, I guess, paradox in some way, right? Yeah. Because like, you need to be able to prove, this high value data, right? Mm-hmm. But you having the access to this high value data on your person endangers you.
Yeah.
And so, in a world where, let's say, I'm just making this up on the fly, but in a world where we say my healthcare data, my financial, information about, my financial, profile, mm-hmm. All of this is contained on a chip. And now we're going to use this like super complex algorithm, and it's going to like randomize, where the chip is in my body and blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, if you're me, that's fine because nobody gives a shit. But once you achieve a certain, and dude, I mean, this might be in another country. This might be, somebody that owns a shop, right? I mean, who knows? Somebody that just has, incrementally more than the guy next door.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be crazy to, cut somebody's head off and just dig around in them and figure out, where this chip is to unlock all this information. So it's like, I don't know how we're going to get away from these trusted third parties, but it's really unnerving. And that's why I posted this article. Mm-hmm. It's unnerving that, I mean, God, people, listen, man, your healthcare data, it is defining the way that your biology works. And it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal if somebody like steals what a number that represents your blood pressure at last checkup or whatever. But the sum of this information is like powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many businesses that are built on, the idea of simply figuring out a better mousetrap to match, certain genetic profiles to drug companies, right?
Yeah.
And these guys make billions of dollars doing this, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's really, really important information, and we handle it in the same way that we handle, your MySpace login, password 12345 *, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, these breaches just kind of continue to shove it in your face that it's happening at scale. And I think asking or expecting the federal government to be in your corner on this, it's not going to happen. It's not realistic. Like there's that, like Medicaid people protecting your shit. What? Like, I mean, dude, can you imagine what their IT department looks like?
Dude, yeah.
So
speaking of compact presarios.
Yeah, that's the damn truth. So anyway, I just wanted to include this on there because, we have these hacks happen and they don't make front page news any longer because they happen all the time. But it's just something to keep your antenna up on, man. Understanding, where we are with these systems. I mean, this will be like, and I guess I'll end with this, in the way that we've seen morality be politicized in the past decade, right? Like heavily politicized. Is that the word I want to use? Maybe not morality, but we have seen Yeah, I'd say morality to a certain degree, right? Like if you yeah, I think that's the word I want to use. And so, in the way that we've seen that kind of be politicized, like we're going to absolutely see a hard turn into politicians politicizing like data rights, like data access, like these things will become as important as border security. Like we're talking about building a physical wall, whether that's a good idea or not, that's not the point of the conversation. We're talking about spending billions of dollars to build a physical wall, right? Meanwhile, the most accessible means of like really getting into and tampering with our country are wide open, dude. I mean, and that is hacking, and those are hacks like this. But anyway, onward to the next one. So pipes, what are they good for? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I wanted to post this one, and probably not gonna dilly dally on it for for too long, but yeah. So this week, apparently someone has They have some suspect, or they have a suspect, I think, at this point, but
I think he did it.
You think so?
Look at that squirrel, yes.
I mean, I agree with you, but so some pipe bombs were sent to several leading Democratic Party figures. To name them, George Soros, who is, I mean, he's known, like, factually known to be basically
to pay for special interests to be executed. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
And anyone would that was worth as much as George Soros.
Oh yeah, totally. But he was sent one. Hillary Clinton was sent one. Barack Obama was sent one. John Brennan, Eric Holder. And then, the thing that kind of wrapped all these together is they were all, the return address was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, which I thought was kind of fun. But,
right.
Yeah. But anyway, so the FBI, the Postal Service, intercepted a bunch of these, pipe bombs that were being mailed to Democratic, political figures. And, it was really weird because it came in basically like a couple different waves. Cause I think, the first packages were found, on, I think that was Wednesday. It was the 24th Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? So yeah. But anyway, so, those packages were pretty much identified over the course of the day on Wednesday. Another one was sent to like the CNN, basically the CNN's headquarters. I can't remember exactly what the building was. And they actually had to evacuate, the whole building. And, so that was just on Wednesday. And so they started looking into, trying to pull DNA and, just some kind of, lead for identifying suspects and stuff. Oh yeah. And, also apparently on the night of, the 24th, Maxine Waters also, I think, was sent some packages. So, then on the 25th, let me make sure that I've got the dates right. Yeah, on the 25th, they actually found some more suspicious packages that were addressed to Robert De Niro, and they were sent to his like Tribeca. What is it called?
His house,
Tribeca Enterprises. Which is basically, it's his production, his film production, and television.
So let's cut to it then. So this guy is a Ted Kaczynski type of character. This guy is a crazy guy. This guy is What is he? What's the deal? What's the deal with the suspect?
Well, so then so that was Thursday, and then moving on to Friday, they actually were able to pull prints off of the package that was sent to Maxine Waters, and then they were able to get DNA samples from the Maxine Waters and Obama packages, and they were able to basically, work their way back to this guy by the name of Cesar Sayoc. And this dude, he is far from clean in regards to his previous arrest records. So, that was how they were actually able to kind of identify him.
The way that this has been spun up is really, really interesting. I mean, I think that we can safely say there is absolutely no fucking place for political violence like this. Absolutely, period. Yeah. Like, you want to get some shit done, like, picket, go to the ballot box, get your shit done.
Yeah.
Fight these wars with
fight them in the avenues that they're supposed to be.
That's exactly right, because the channel's there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so, and not only is the channel there, but I don't give a shit how desperate times feel. Yeah. Like, this is the process.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
start a fucking blog.
That's exactly right, man. I mean, look, man, I don't know. We talk about the kind of like a meta theme on Tether is how short frankly humanity has been, right? Like, we haven't been around that long, right? And so we amazingly forget these things that have happened in the not too distant past, right? In the 20th century, the early 1900s, early to mid 1900s, early to, I should say, the first 25 years of the 20th century in the United States, right? Anarchists were bombing fucking schools in the United States. This was happening. People that had identified with the anarchist party bombing children, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that is, and I just say that because that's not that long ago, right? And so why am I saying this? Times are not more extreme now. They're just not. And I think that, like,
they're not more extreme. It's just the information highway has, extended to a billion lanes, and we have 24-hour news, and we're just inundated with all this information,
right. Or put another way, right? Like, your life, your experience used to be bound by what you could see. In front of you, right? Like, what was physically there in front of you. And now it just is like, when people are like, well, I've never heard of such a thing. It's like, well, yeah, because, you female circumcision wasn't a thing in your household in Indiana. You know what I mean? And I'm just using that as like an absurd extreme example. But my point is now, everything is accessible. Everything is there out in front of people. So the reason I say this is because, I got a little off topic there, but the reason I say this is because, this was being spun in the media in like a really weird way, where it's like, well, this is what happens when this kind of hate is like, the hate that's been pushed around is like, focused, and like these are the kind of monsters that this political scenario creates. And I just emphatically disagree with that. I think they're always
pretty disgusting, honestly.
Well, they're always just crazy people, dude. And you know what, man? A lot of them are in Washington, D.C. Like a lot of these like crazy assholes that are creating like next world bizarre situations, wear a suit and tie and smoke cigars and hang out and drink scotch, right? Like, so, some damn near homeless dude who downloaded found a ratty ass version of the Anarchist Cookbook, and it's just anyway. So I mean, it's just
he didn't get it on Amazon.
Well, yeah,
Get it?
that's right. Yeah, of course I did. Of course. Yeah, Bezos made sure of that. But I guess that's really my commentary, is that I just saw so much to do ado about this guy and this scene, this world of hate and all of the hate in the United States. It's like, dude, the problems are the problems are the problems are the problems, right?
Yeah.
Like these cycles are so macro. It's absurd to think that for example, Barack Obama was responsible for 2008. That's not the way it works. It's just not the way the economy works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so these cycles, like whoever's in power, is gonna get shit on, and whoever's not in power is gonna try to grab the brass ring. And so it's just, people have gotten, this Trump conversation's just gotten so out of hand and so absurd. The guy's just a president. It's what he is. He's just a president, man. And he is like the president of the United States, whether you like it or not. It's the way it's going. Dude is not going to be impeached.
Yeah.
Like if you disagree with this guy, and a lot of people do, and that's fine. That's the world we should live in, where where you have hardcore opponents to anybody that's in office.
Yeah.
Then get your ass up, mobilize, change that shit in 2020 if that's what you feel. You know. But again, I understand. I get why, this is like a piece of raw meat here, man, for, for the savage dogs, right? Like to politicize it like they did. But that is just, it's silly. I don't think I don't think it's I think it's real. I think this guy is real. I just don't think that the sentiment that popular media would have you believe is real. Go ahead, though.
No. Well, it's just, it's not like, like you said, I think that this guy, he's not a criminal mastermind. He's a fucking kook that decided to send bombs to political figures,
Yeah,
I mean, it was just, cause you read further in the, one of the articles that was on, CNBC, I think it was NBC News. And like his own cousin described him as like a loose cannon. Dude,
they're just like, God damn it. What was this guy's name?
Did you see, he's like, did you see what Cesar fucking did? Jesus.
Dude, Christmas 2016, Cesar chugged a bunch of nog, took a shit in my sock. You know what I mean? Like, this is that guy, right?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Cesar barfed in the kitchen sink. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous, dude. Overcooked the turkey. I mean.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. And he said too many steroids in his day. That stuff will melt your brain. He used
We've all
to work
got an Uncle Cesar.
He used to work in strip clubs as a dancer and a bouncer. I don't know how that works.
You know what, dude? It works. It works like Two-Face on. It's like, hey boys, what are you guys doing? Don't touch me. Don't touch the dancer.
You want a private dance? No touching. No touching.
Don't get too close.
Yeah, getting a little handsy, buddy. Oh no, it's okay. Oh my God, that's awesome.
I bet that club's out of business.
Yeah, right.
It's like, dude, I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. Like, it was dark in there, but it was like, was there another guy in there? I don't know,
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
But we won't stick on this one too long. But so yeah, we're gonna cruise over to something that was pretty cool, actually. So the Mega Millions lottery.
Oh my!
It actually,
God, right?
What?
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. It was crazy.
Dude.
I was like texting with people, a couple of buddies in different states, and they were sending me pictures, and they were like, "Look at this bananas scene, man!" And it was like people like wrapped around the block buying
trying
tickets.
to buy fucking dude. I mean, it was crazy, but so and let's see, it was the drawing was on Tuesday night, I believe, and they actually had 2 winners. It got up to 1.53, well, I guess, $1,537,000,000, which is, apparently it was the biggest jackpot in the history of, the Mega Millions.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, but the funny thing was, and I didn't realize kind of how the rules around, like, the different state lotteries, but, like, you're not required in some states to actually publicly receive the
money.
The money. But, and apparently, South Carolina, which is where the winning ticket was sold, it doesn't require that. So they can stay anonymous if they want.
It's how it should be, man.
Oh, dude, totally. Because you go down in the article a little bit more and they talk about, like, I mean, dude, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pulling this kind of, from, something I read a very long time ago, but it was something along the lines of, like, life expectancy is cut basically almost in half if you win the lottery. Just
right.
Because, like, fucking crazy people trying to come, like, I mean, this one dude, let's see, in 2015, a dude won $400,000 in an Illinois lottery. 2 months after posing with his check, he was killed by home invasion robbers demanding his money.
Dude, I mean, it's just people, it's so interesting how people chase wealth, right?
Yeah.
But they're not chasing wealth, man. They're chasing freedom. And like, what's crazy is not to take this like super light article and get real deep.
Yeah.
But dude, that shit lives between your fucking ears. Period.
100%.
Period.
100%.
And you are as chained at 400 million as you are at your current status, right?
Yeah.
But something I wanted to mention here, which I was thinking about this the other day. The lottery is such a perfect product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's $2 to potentially access $1.5 billion. You're not going to win. Statistically, fact, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
But why would you not? Why would you not play?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's I think I read it was something like, I want to say 350 some million different number combinations.
That's
crazy. I can't remember the exact number, but it was basically along the lines of, you could buy a ticket. You know, if you were the only one playing at this point, you could buy, all of those number combinations and still come out on top. But, obviously very few people have that kind of cheese. And if you have to share it,
you're screwed.
You're totally screwed. But
you are
anyway,
screwed.
Just the last thing that I'll say about it is, they actually had 2 winners and they're going to be splitting, $687 million.
Hey,
and that's after like state and federal taxes.
Exactly, man. So,
which is kind of fucking crazy.
Uncle Sam, dude. Yeah, but 300 mil, good on them. Good on them.
Uncle Sam is like Scrooge McDuck, man. He's just swimming around in his money bin.
And if you're listening, Uncle, a tip of that to you, sir. But anyway, all right, dude. So we have just rounded the bases on 21. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Bitch in. Well, I'm gonna do my little song and dance, and then we are going to bid y'all adieu. But look, Tether Radio, episode 21. You've just been a part of history, and we thank you for that. Get at us, as always, at tetherradio@gmail.com, tetherradio@gmail.com. Send us love letters, hate mail, whatever. We just love to hear from you. It's awesome to hear about what you thought of the show and some suggestions and commentary. We dig that. Get at us on Twitter at tether_radio. Instagram, it's the same handle, tether_radio. And on Mark Zuckerberg's thought capturing machine, Facebook, we are Tether Radio, all one word. Quick note, we are on iTunes, and we would love your review. So if you dig the show, give us a shitload of stars and say nice things. If you hate the show, give us few stars and say really mean things. We are
But
totally
at least attempt to be constructive.
at least attempt to be constructive. That's
Don't just call us idiots. We already know that.
That's exactly right. But yeah, I mean, feedback is how we get better at what we do. And you know, the goal of this show is to just provide yet another perspective in this crazy fucking world, man. And hopefully in a way that's approachable and you know, a little bit thought provoking. So tons of smart people talking about cool stuff in this world. And we hope that we can be one of those groups for you. Tons of ways to get your news. So we appreciate you spending time with us. So again, episode 21. We will get this thing up and posted in short order. Thank you for spending time with us. I'm Joseph,
And I'm Daniel.
That was Tether Radio. Stay tethered, peeps.
Do it, guys. See you guys next week.